Whether you're a guy or whether you're a girl, odds are at least once in your life you have been put in the friend zone. And as a guy in my mid-50s with no kids and has never been married, although I have come remarkably close a few times to getting married, I had been put in the friend zone quite a few times. And regardless of how nice they were doing it and trying to convince me that it's them and not me, I can promise you with 100% certainty, it was always me. Always me. And I'm sorry, but if you're in the friend zone, it was you, not them. But what in the heck am I talking about, right? Here we are on a Garage Gym podcast. I'm talking about being in the friend zone. And what I'm talking about is that I've been looking a lot lately at the garage gym industry as a whole and how many companies have sprung up over the last 4 years. And we're starting to see a good number of those companies go out of business. And I think one of the big reasons that I look at some of the commonalities of why these companies go out of business, I really think a lot of them put themselves in the friend zone. In other words, the companies are our suitors, right? They're the ones who want to be in a relationship with us. But a lot of them, they just don't have a compelling reason for us to be in a relationship with them. It's totally them, right? Like, we'll be friends with them, we'll hang out with them, we'll work out with them if they're in somebody else's gym. I'll even look at your website, I'll go to your booth at Home Gym Con, but I'm probably not gonna buy any of your stuff. And I think that's a problem because I want all of these companies to succeed. In fact, the companies that I'm gonna talk about today are all big companies. They're big companies who I think have kind of made a wrong turn here and there, and I could be wrong, so make sure and hit me in the comments for everything I get wrong today, because I'm sure I'm going to screw a lot of it up. But that is what we're going to talk about today on the GymCrafter podcast, is big garage gym companies who find themselves in the friend zone. Welcome back to the GymCrafter podcast, everybody. My name is Tim. I am the head gym nerd here at gymcrafter.com, the website and the YouTube channel that I built to help ordinary folks like you and I build home and garage gyms that we absolutely love. And yes, we are in a different atmosphere today. I had to move the podcast upstairs. See, a few weeks ago, I had a delicious helping of bat and pangolin soup, and apparently that stuff's not good for you and kind of has some after effects that last a while. You probably hear it a little bit in the congestion in my voice, and I absolutely could not record a podcast down in my cold garage, so we have moved things upstairs for a couple of episodes into my library. So that's why I'm sitting in front of books instead of barbells, although I don't know if you knew this about me or not. I think I mentioned it before. I like books almost as much as I like barbells, sometimes better. So hey, I'm in a happy place either way. But like I said, today we're going to talk about garage gym companies who are in the friend zone. And I think that I want to start by talking a little bit about just kind of exactly what I mean by that. You see, in order for a garage gym company to survive, they have to have loyal customers. They can't just have us buy one thing and then go away, right? They can't just have us buy a set of collars because they're on sale and then nothing ever again. They have to have some compelling offers. And so when I started thinking about how do you determine if a company's got compelling offers or not, I started thinking about what if some of our favorite garage gym companies went out of business? So for example, what if Rogue tomorrow said, hey, we're done. We made enough money. CrossFit games are a thing of the past. We're just going to close up shop. We're going to go retire and sit on a beach. We're going to sell out the rest of our inventory and we're done. Now, the key here is, for this example, is they're going to sell out the rest of their inventory, but they're not going to put it on sale. It's just going to be normal, full, overpriced Rogue prices, right? Even though they were at those super high prices, they would sell out almost instantly of a ton of stuff, right? Like they would sell out of rhinos, they would sell out of racks, they would sell out of Ohio power bars, they would sell out of a ton of stuff because Rogue makes some stuff that you just can't get other places. They make what a lot of people consider is the best of a certain number of categories of goods. And I think that kind of that shows that they're worth dating, right? They have a compelling offer for us to continue shopping with them. Rep Fitness is the same way. If Rep made the same announcement today, they would sell out of Aries 2.0s. They would sell out of all their barbells. They would sell out of a lot of their cable machines that they've got going on right now. They would sell out of their functional trainers. So they would sell out of a lot of stuff, even if they didn't put it on sale, because people want the products that Rep makes, especially like certain products, right? Same thing with even a smaller company like Fringe Sport. They would sell out of the Dane. They would for sure sell out of bumper plates in a heartbeat. They would sell out of the Wonder Bar. They would sell out of a bunch of stuff because they really make something that's a compelling reason to date them, i.e. be their customer. Even a company like Bells of Steel, who I wouldn't have said this about a few years ago, man, they would sell out of a bunch of stuff. They would sell out of their Bare Naked Power Bar. They would sell out of their Manticore and Hydra racks. By the way, too, if you're looking for a rack, sleeper picks right there. The Manticore and the Hydra, I don't think you can get better racks for your money right now. If you're looking for a good deal on a great rack. But anyway, but there's some things that you would go to, right? But there's other companies to where if they said, hey, we're going out of business, we're not going to have a sale, we're just going to sell it would take them a long time to sell the rest of their inventory because they don't have anything compelling, right? So that's kind of the lens that I'm looking at as we go over these companies is, if this company were to go out of business today, would anybody miss them? And B, what would they miss, right? And that's the same thing, like when we get stuck in a friend zone in a relationship, I think that's kind of what the person is saying is, if you weren't in my life, I wouldn't miss you, because let's be honest, let's be friends. You're never friends. Like all three of the serious relationships that I had that I stopped, we agreed to be friends, right? I don't talk to any of those people anymore. And they don't have any desire to talk to me. I don't have any desire to talk to them. And I honestly don't really miss much about any of them at this point. And so I'm sure the same thing would be true of these companies if they went out of business. It's like, would you even know that they were gone? And if you did go, oh, hey, what happened to that company? Would you go, oh, I wish I had bought X? So that's kind of the lens that I'm looking through as I made my list of companies that I think are in their friend zone. And I want to kind of talk about why I think they're in the friend zone, where they went wrong, what they can do to fix it. And then I want to ask you guys what you think. What do you think? Am I missing a product that they're really good at that we would miss? Am I just completely misjudging some of these companies? And so that's where we're going to go with today's podcast. So let's dig in. And just one caveat before we start. I don't wish bad at any of these companies. I genuinely like all of these companies. Some of them I like a lot. I'm not trying to knock them. I'm not trying to say that they're a terrible company. I'm just trying to give some honest feedback as to the state of affairs with them. And hopefully if you put enough comments, maybe these companies will make some changes and get better, because there's nothing better than innovation in our industry. There's been so much cool stuff coming out as companies try and outdo each other. I would love to see the companies I'm going to talk about today do the same thing. So make no mistake, I am not bagging on these companies. I'm not knocking on these companies. I'm not trying to insult these companies. But I do think that they have some opportunities, and I do think that all of them are squarely in the friend zone. And I'm going to start with company number 0. I wasn't even going to include this company because they're not a big company yet. But I have roundabout talked about this company in like almost every podcast for the last probably 20 episodes of the podcast. I have indirectly referenced this company. So as you guys know, I am still rackless in my garage if you've been following the podcast. And the reason I'm rackless is because there was a company who reached out to me and they said, hey, we would like to work with you and we would like to send you a rack to review. So I did some digging and I hemmed and hawed, and it took me a long time to say yes to this company. There were some things that I wasn't really too hot on, right? Like the rack itself, they only offer a 5/8 inch hole rack, and there's no west side spacing in the upright. Something that I'm like, well, if I'm gonna have a 5/8 inch hole rack, I would want west side spacing, right? That's something that I would want. But it's a company out of Canada. It's made in North America. It's not an import. They do some really cool customization. They do some really cool options as far as their accessories go. They're one of the only companies with 5/8 inch hole racks where they line everything with UHMW. They've got a great reputation from the other stuff they do. The company I'm talking about is Iron Bull Strength, and you've probably seen a lot of them on social media now. They're really pushing the advertising. They've built a factory in Canada so that they can make everything in-house. They're the only company making Cerakote dumbbells. What I'm trying to say, guys, is I think the products are really, really cool. And I'm really pulling for these guys to do a good job, especially as a North American company. Tariffs or no tariffs, I think we're all overblowing tariffs or no. Things are gonna cost what they're gonna cost, and if you wanna buy something, it's either worth your money or not. A tariff, I don't think is gonna make a huge difference. But I think they make some cool stuff. And so they were going to send me a rack. And then they said, hey, we've got these cool other things we're building for the rack. We're building some cool cable attachments. We're building some really cool jammer arms. They're like really neat stuff. And they're like, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. But what I wasn't telling you guys is that this company was not returning my emails. Like I would write an email to the contact there and they just wouldn't return it. And then I would write another email and they would return it within 5 minutes. And then I would ask a follow-up question and they wouldn't return it for like 3 weeks. And then they wouldn't give me updates. And what I started realizing, I started getting a really bad feeling inside about, okay, let's play this out. Let's say I get this rack and I like the rack because it's a good product, but the company isn't there. The company is not what I would want to recommend. So I reached out to some other folks who have dealt with Iron Bull Strength, people who have gotten racks from them, people who have been approached by them, and to a person, every single one of them has had the same experience. No responses. I know one person has a YouTube channel, got one of their racks, was missing parts. There's not even a customer service number to call. They didn't even know who to reach out to get the missing parts. They're still missing the missing parts several months later. And just thing after thing after thing started happening like this. And to use the friend zone analogy, we all know people in our lives, and I've got a good friend named Mike, who's not really a good friend. I don't talk to him much anymore, but who every time I hang out with him, I'm like, man, Mike's a cool guy. I really like him. We have a lot in common. Man, he's like a good guy. Like I'd really like to be friends with him. And then I would text him and he wouldn't text me back. And then we would make plans and he wouldn't show up. And it's like, okay, Mike's kind of flaky. And maybe Mike's not that great of a friend after all, right? Like maybe maybe I shouldn't go to all the effort. So kind of the decision I made with Iron Bull is I said, I've put in as much effort as I think I should have to try and build this relationship with them. And if they're going to treat somebody like me like that, they're going to treat everybody else like that, then I don't know that I'm going to be comfortable, even if it's a great product, right? Even if I introduced you to Mike, you'd love him. Everybody who meets Mike loves Mike. Until he doesn't call him back, right? And I just didn't want to do that to you guys for a rack. So I have turned down the over $3,000 rack. I'm no longer getting a rack from this company anymore. To let you in, I did buy a rack today because I'm tired of not having one. I spent $4,000 of my own money on a rack. I can't wait till it gets here. It's going to be here in a few weeks, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. I'm so excited. I'm almost grateful that it took this long because I wouldn't have been able to do what I just did if it hadn't taken this long. Feel free to put your guesses down below. But anyway, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, like I said at the beginning, I want Iron Bull to succeed. I think their product's really, really good. I've read a lot of good reviews. I've talked to a few people who have their products. The products themselves are awesome. Their dumbbells, they make these Cerakote custom dumbbells. If you're looking for custom finished stuff, man, it is really cool. So again, I don't want to come across as knocking the company as far as the products go. I just think that right now they're just going to be in the friend zone. Like I'm going to look at the cool products. They're going to be at Home Gym Con. I'm going to go look at everything they have. I'm going to shoot pictures of it. I'm going to shoot reels of it. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to share it because I think it's really cool stuff. I'm just not at this point going to be a customer. And so to me, that's a company being in the friend zone. And like I said, I wasn't going to do that because I don't want to come across as bitter. Look, they made a very generous offer. Again, my goal is not just to get free stuff and then make money. My goal is to help you guys as much as possible. And I didn't think that decision of working with them was going to help you guys as much as it could be. So I'm going with a company who I know is going to treat you right, who I know this product is going to knock your socks off, and I cannot wait. So that's kind of company. I'm calling that number 0 in this list because I don't think Iron Bull has been making stuff long enough. I really think a lot of this is growing pains. I think a lot of this is just, they're kind of just immature as a company right now, and they've got a lot of filling in. They've got to build out a customer service department. They've got to build out a better internal structure of getting emails returned to people. They've got to maybe hire some more people to deal with the relationships. so that they can better service the relationships they're trying to build. Because like I said, I don't know of any other relationships that they're trying to build right now that are going any better than kind of the experience that I had. So without pounding that one into the ground, that's Iron Bull Strength. Like I said, if you're looking for custom colored stuff, if you're looking for made in North America stuff, I have a lot of viewers in Canada. If you guys are looking for stuff, they are in Canada. You won't have to worry about tariffs. It's a great place to go. I want to recommend it to them. I am not an affiliate. I'm not making any money by telling you guys to do that. I could be. I actually think I might be an affiliate, but I'm not putting in an affiliate link in just because, like I said, I don't know that it's the best decision. But if you're in Canada, check them out. And let's move on to the actual company number one. And when I wrote the outline for this episode, it's three companies that I wanted to call out. Like I said, all three are fairly big companies. And number one on my list of companies who have put themselves, who I used to date. I had a long-term relationship with this company, and now they are firmly in my friend zone. I am not going to spend any money with them. I'm not going to buy anything from them. I'm not going to review anything from them, at least for a while, and that's Titan Fitness. So let me explain why. So in order to understand what I'm talking about, we have to go back to the beginning of Titan. For those of you who have been in the garage gym game for a while, Titan Fitness started as a Chinese company that stole other people's IP and just made knockoff products at a much poorer quality level and at dirt cheap prices. That's where they started. That's their very, 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 very beginnings, was all they sold was stuff that they just kind of knocked off of other people. Then they kind of grew and developed a little bit, and they came out with a really good line of racks because the company, Titan Brands, actually makes just steel stuff. It's just a factory. It makes stuff out of steel. So they're like, hey, we can make exercise gear out of steel too. And they started making some racks. And I bought an X3 rack. I loved that rack. I bought that rack at a time where the same rack from Rogue would have cost 4 to 5 times as much. I loved that rack. I used that rack for years. I sold that rack not too long ago. I miss it. And it was a great way to go. And Titan shifted a little bit, right? They shifted from we're just going to steal everybody's stuff to, well, we're not going to steal everybody's stuff, but we're still going to make kind of lower priced budget stuff. But it was budget stuff that for the most part worked. Now, some of it didn't. There's an article on my website about never buy a Titan version 1 anything because they were notorious for version 1 was dangerous in some cases. Boy, you did not want a version 1. But when by the time they came out with version 2 or version 3, it was usually all right. It wasn't pretty. The welds were ugly, but it got the job done, and it allowed a lot of us who were on tight budgets to buy things that we wouldn't have been otherwise able to buy. And Titan built a really good company that way. And then a few years ago, they got a new CEO here in the United States, and they said, hey, we want to shake off this reputation we have of being IP thieves. We want to shake off the reputation of just being a kind of a crappy budget company. And they started making better stuff. And I was really excited, right? Because I'm like, oh, awesome. We're going to have a budget company that makes better quality stuff, that gets the job done. And I'm not necessarily paying for, let's be honest, Rogue, a lot of the pricing for Rogue went to all of the marketing that they did for the CrossFit Games. I mean, they gave all that equipment to the CrossFit Games. They had this huge, gigantic marketing budget to cover, and that just filtered down into the price of the consumer products, whereas Titan wasn't doing that, right? So I'm like, hey, cool, we'll have some nicer stuff. It's not as nice as Rogue, but it's good enough, right? And a lot of us, especially in our garage gyms and our dingy basements and stuff, I'm down for good enough in a lot of cases. So that was a great niche for Titan to be in. And man, they had this new owner, and they weren't stealing stuff, and they were making some nicer stuff, and they brought out some nice benches, and they brought out some other stuff. And while they weren't stealing, it was still all Me Too stuff, right? There's nothing innovative. Their twist lock collars, which are okay. I just released a review on those not too long ago. They have a couple of quote unquote innovative things, but it's still, hey, we also make one. We make one for less money. Until recently. I don't know if you've looked at Titan lately, but I don't know who got a hold of the pricing algorithm over there, but I think they're drinking and smoking on the job, because Titan's pricing has literally doubled, tripled, and in some cases quadrupled on some of their stuff. So now you've got stuff that isn't innovative, that isn't new, that isn't better than other people's stuff. Some of it's pretty good. Like their quality's gotten much better. Like I said, I want Titan to succeed, and I think they're doing some nice stuff. Their barbells have gotten a lot better. Their benches have gotten a lot better. Their fit and finish has definitely gotten a little bit better. But in the end, you know, to use the dating analogy again, they're that person who isn't original. They have the hairstyle because everybody else has had that hairstyle for a while. Like all you out there who look like broccoli right now, you know, like the first few people, that was cool. But now if you're like the last dude with the broccoli head, I'm sorry guys, it's just like, I can't see anything but broccoli or llamas everywhere I go now. But if you're the last person with that, it's not as appealing as the first person with that, right? And that's kind of how I look at Titan, is it's like, okay, well, we also have a relentless rope. Oh, well, we also have nicer barbells. Oh, well, we also have nicer benches. Oh, well, we also have cool little red knobs on our stuff. Oh, like, that's cool if it comes at a better price. But if it's, we also have that stuff and we're as much or more expensive now than everybody else, Titan just went from a company that I used to like to date to a company that really, honestly, is firmly in my friend zone right now. And I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know that I can't think of a single thing. If we use that example I talked about, if Titan declared, hey, we're going out of business tomorrow, we're not putting anything on sale, but we're just going to sell out of our current inventory, what would you rush over to Titan to buy? I literally can't think of anything. Is there anything that they sell where you go, ooh, I got to get me one of those before they're gone? Because honestly, everything that I can see on their website, I can get elsewhere for as much or less, or even a little bit more. And if it's a little bit more, it's a lot better. You know, maybe their safety squat bar, it used to be, and now their safety squat bar is amazing, always has been. I think it's one of the best products that they've ever made, and it's one of the best products they currently make, and it's one of the best safety squat bars on the market. However, after trying the new SS4 by Bells of Steel, I don't know that I'd miss the Titan safety squat bar, right? Like, there's an alternative there. So that's about the only product that I can think of that might cause somebody to go buy one if they're going out of business. So again, not trying to hate on Titan, but man, I don't know what they've done in the last year, but whew, they have gone from somebody who I had like wanted to date, right? Like 9 out of 10 would date, to 5 out of 10, maybe we'll be friends. And again, Home Gym Con, I'll go by their booth, I'll check out their stuff. Probably not going to buy anything, probably not going to review anything, probably not going to recommend anything that they make as one of the better options. And again, please tell me if I'm wrong, but that's company number one that I think really has put themselves squarely in the home gym friend zone. All right, moving on to company number two who is in the friend zone. And guys, this hurts me to bring this up because again, I don't want any of these companies to do poorly. I know I sound like a broken record. I really like this company. I really like the people that run this company. This company has been really good to me as a creator. They've provided me opportunities that few other companies have provided me. They have rolled out the red carpet to welcome me into their company, into their showroom. But I really think that they are stuck hard in the friend zone, and that company is Body Solid. Body Solid to me is, so in the 90s, and I don't know if they still do, there's probably still hipsters, I'm old, whatever. But in the 90s, hipsters were kind of a new thing, right? And hipsters were big on wearing old stuff, right? Like hipster dudes would wear like the newsboy caps and smoke pipes and drink beer nobody else liked. And if anybody else liked it, they didn't. Well, the hipster women at the time, for some reason, they dressed like my grandma. And it was really weird. Like, they were nice, they were smart, they were fun to be around, they were funny. I mean, they were really awesome, awesome women. But they just reminded me of my grandma, and they smelled like my grandma too. And they wore clothes from the thrift store that I think my grandma donated. And that, for me, that just killed it. That, like, firmly in the friend zone, right? Even the cute ones. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to date my grandma. And I'm sorry, Body Solid, but buying stuff from Body Solid right now kind of reminds me of buying stuff that my grandpa would have bought. And I wish it wasn't that way, because I've been to their headquarters. I've tried all of their stuff. Guys, their stuff is awesome. Their leg press machines are great. They make the best commercial leg press I've ever used. They make the best hack squat leg press combo. They make a fantastic leg sled, compact leg press. They make some great all-in-one trainers. They make make a couple of really cool lever gyms. Thing after thing after thing. They make some really awesome, Smith machines are a thing right now. Body Solid has been making amazing Smith machines longer than just about anybody else. Their racks and their rack ecosystems are phenomenal. They make a low ceiling rack, which is tremendous. Like, I literally could go on and on and on about how great these products are, but they're all kind of dressed up in my grandma's clothes. And again, I'm sorry, Body Solid. I know you're going to watch this. I really didn't want to put you on this list. But that's kind of how it comes across. And look, for you guys out there who are Body Solid fans, that's awesome. They've got a great group of people who love their stuff. They've been around for 35 plus years. They offer a lifetime warranty on everything that they sell. But in today's dating marketplace of home gym gear, they're just not the hotness, right? And I think that's a problem. And what I want more than anything, and I've told them this, I want them to sell direct on their website, because right now you have to go to a store to buy their stuff, or you have to go to a website called Fitness Factory, where they sell their stuff online. And quite honestly, I'm not sure who the web designer is at Fitness Factory, but I think they got hired from like a 1950s newspaper print department, because it's so old. And man, I tell you what, I swear, if they could just update a little bit and sell direct on their own website, I really think Body Solid would go from the friend zone to everybody wanting to date them in a heartbeat. It would just take a little bit of updating. And for those of you out there who have Body Solid, chime down in the comments and let me know. Great products, just they're maroon, right? I mean, there's just stuff like that. And I don't want to beat this one into the ground, because like I said, I love the company, and I'm probably never going to get invited back there again, and the owner's never going to talk to me again, and that really sucks. But I really thought, when I was thinking about who belonged on the companies in a friend zone list, stuff that, again, I'm going to go look at their booth, I'm going to go look at their stuff, but man, if they declare they're going out of business tomorrow, I can't think of a single thing on their website where I would run right out and buy it. And I don't know that, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, guys. I know there's Body Solid fans out there. Let me know if I'm wrong on that one. But also, let them know what they can do to get better, because man, I'm telling you guys, if you're not a Body Solid customer and you haven't bought some of their stuff, you really are legitimately missing out on some great products. I just think they're kind of dressed up in grandma's clothes. So I'm done driving that analogy into the ground. But that's company number 2 that I think is caught in the garage gym friend zone. Again, hopefully they can get out of it. And just to let you guys know, I do know that they are working on all the things I just said. They know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not the only one to have told them that. They are working on their website. They are working on selling direct. And hopefully in the next year or two, you guys are going to see a different look from Body Solid that allows you to want to date them and not just look at them at Home Gym Con. So yeah, that's number 2. Let's talk about number 3, and that is GetRx. So GetRx is a company that it's always like the runner-up at the beauty pageant, right? Like, so on my website, GymCrafter.com, I always tried to rank, this is the best for this and this is the best for that. I cannot tell you how many different categories of merchandise GetRx is listed as like the 3rd option. It's like, well, if you don't want to go with this one and you don't want to go with this one, then GetRx makes a solid option, right? Like, everything they make is solid. Everything they make is pretty quality. Nothing they make is unique. We're going to get to the RX3 in a second, but nothing they make is unique. Nothing they make I can't buy someplace else better for the same or less money. There's really not a lot to it, but by the same token, I can comfortably recommend that you go buy something from GetRx knowing that you're going to be happy with it. So GetRx is divided into 2 kind of categories, right? GetRx is workout stuff, and they really started as a CrossFit supply company. and they've kind of graduated from there, and they're making some racks now, but they made some cardio stuff. And then they're also a Zebex dealer. Now Zebex is a higher end imported cardio brand. They make treadmills and bikes and rowers and sleds and things like that are all fairly expensive. So I want to kind of deal with those two separately. Let's talk about the Zebex stuff first. So I've tried a lot of the Zebex stuff, and I'll just be real honest with you, it's overpriced. It's good stuff. It's quality stuff. If you buy a Zebex anything, it's really good stuff. I really wanted to buy their ST6 sled treadmill thing, but I would tell you that for $3,000, it's overpriced. You can get a better unit from several other people for less money, and there's no reason to spend that amount of money. And unfortunately, that's kind of how Zebex is. Zebex is just a high margin, high dollar, where there's just other stuff better. If you want to buy a sled, I've tried the Zebex sled and I've tried the Torque tank sleds. The Torque sleds are better. The Torque sleds are actually much better. And I'll give you a specific example. So the Zebex sleds, the thing that they make is you can turn them. They're on swivel wheels, which I guess if you're pushing a sled in a basement would make a difference. The problem is that the benefit of pushing a sled is you want to be able to get into it, right? You want to be able to like really get into it. And when the wheels swivel, you can't do that. You can't get into it because you're constantly doing this with the stupid sled. With the Torque sleds, they go in a straight line, and that's how a sled should go. On a Torque sled, you can put 110% power into that thing, and you don't have to worry about it squirting off to one side or the other. It is a much better sled workout. And oh, by the way, it costs less as well. So on the Zebex side, I really think that there's just better options at lower prices. And then on the other side, when you're looking at like the RX3 tornado arms, and you're looking at the racks that they're building, that's some cool stuff, right? Like that's them trying to get out of the friend zone. You really see that, because without those things, take RX3 off and make them go out of business tomorrow, there's nothing you go to their website to buy. I don't think. So right now, if they were to do that, I know some people would say, hey, I'm going to go there and I'm going to buy the RX3 whatever because of the tornado arms. For those of you not familiar with what tornado arms are, they're the pulley arms that actually extend off of the upright so that you can get a wider stretch on like a cable crossover or like reverse flies or things like that. It's a very cool idea. It is not a unique idea. They are not the first people to do it. There's a company out of Canada that's using the exact same arms. Force USA is offering the same thing on their C10. And I promise you that within the next year or two, every manufacturer is going to have a version of that for their rack. Rep's going to have a version for their rack. Rogue's going to have it, because it's a good idea, right? And it's not necessarily patented in any specific way. So yeah, arms that come off of the uprights more, that's a common problem that people always have complained about. I guarantee you there's going to be better solutions than RX3, and as soon as they are, then there's going to be no more reason to date GetRx anymore. So they just kind of live in that weird little middle world where there's just, at first glance, you're like, they make some cool stuff, but then if you actually do any research or look at all, there's just better stuff out there. And it's unfortunate because I think it's a good company. I think it's run by good people. I think it's run by people who work out, which is one of my favorite things. Like the guys who actually, at least the guys who do the marketing, the people that I've talked to there seem like they actually train. I think that it's a small company, which I really like. They're not this big, huge conglomerate. There's a lot of things to like about GetRx. I think it's one of those things where if they were to go out of business tomorrow, like, I don't know, you guys let me know. What would you run over and buy from them? Like, is there anything at all outside of, like I said, if you need the RX3 stuff right now, outside of that, is there anything at all? Is there anything that you would be like, hey, we're really gonna miss X? And I don't think there is. And those are my four companies that I think are stuck in the garage and home gym friend zone. What do you guys think? What are the companies that I missed? You know, I was looking through and there were quite a few companies I could have put on this list, but I didn't. I didn't want to make it too long of an episode. I also wanted to stick to some larger companies and not pick on some little guys who are just trying to start, get started and knock on somebody just because they haven't had enough time to get rolling yet. But who do you guys think should have been on that list? Who do you think should not have been on that list? Who was I too harsh on? Like I said, I am still recovering from that giant delicious bowl of bat and pangolin soup. And I will be very honest that I have been a crabby man lately. So maybe my crabbiness is influencing this episode of the GymCrafter podcast. If it is, call me out on it. Tell me I'm being a jerk. Tell me I'm being too hard on people. Hopefully I wasn't. I want to reiterate one last time. Titan, GetRx'd, and especially Body Solid. I am pulling for all of you guys. I like you guys. I've owned products from all of you guys. And I want to buy more products from you down the road. So again, not rooting for your failure, not trying to be a jerk, but you are in the friend zone right now, and it's not me, it's you. So that's all I've got for this episode of the GymCrafter podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed the new atmosphere in my second favorite room in my entire house, my library, between here and my home gym. This is where those are the two rooms I spend most of my time in because I'm a big dork who's single in his mid-50s with no kids and nothing better to do than read and work out. So there you have it. Anyway, thanks again. If you haven't liked the episode by now, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe because I'm going to record some more grumpy old man with bat and pangolin hangover attitude here coming up. And ring that bell so you know those episodes come out. And until next time, you guys have a great week. I'm Tim from GymCrafter.